Hare Krishna. Good evening to all the assembled devotees. Welcome to this Gita Made Easy program. Today we are going to discuss from chapter 13. Very interesting chapter. Hope my audio and the slides are, you're able to see the slides and my audio is clear.
Yes,
But all,
Hare
if you
Krishna
have,
Prabhuji. We can hear you. We can see you.
thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhu. In between the class, if you feel any kind of disconnection, please let me know. Hare Krishna. So this Bhagavad Gita course, we are discussing chapter wise, and this course is actually designed from reference from Bhagavad Gita as it is, by teachings by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So before going into today's class, let us offer our humble prayers unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, so that we may be able to understand his teachings and get the strength to follow those teachings in our day-to-day life. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Savadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyev Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Mugam Karoti Vachalam Pangundlange Tegrimitrupada Mande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhav Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shradvaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Tat Sat. So we are actually progressing to the third section of Bhagavad Gita. As we know, 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, it's actually the Acharyas, they have described this. First 6 chapters is actually focusing more on Karma Yoga, activities, action. By doing your activities, how you can develop your devotion to the Lord. And the core of the Bhagavad Gita itself is Bhakti Yoga, which we discussed past several weeks from chapter 7 to 12. Essentially, more focus is given on the glories and the essential practices of Bhakti Yoga. Now, today onwards, we are going to the last section of Bhagavad Gita, which is from last 6 chapters, beginning from chapter 13 to 18, which is going to be more focused on Jnana Yoga. So, when Bhakti Yoga is the cream and the ultimate goal, why did not Krishna stop at 12th chapter itself, saying that this panel completed? No, Krishna is giving this jnana or knowledge so that by getting this knowledge, we can enhance our bhakti. So the knowledge is very, very important aspect so that, our bhakti gets enhanced. So the purpose of giving the jnana or knowledge is actually to enhance our bhakti towards Sri Krishna. So let us go into this 13th chapter. We already discussed this. Chapter 1 to 6, karma means action. Action, how it leads to Bhakti Yoga. And chapter 12 is already Bhakti Yoga. And chapter 13 is actually Jnana, giving knowledge. And the perfection of Jnana, when you have ultimate knowledge, Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanaman Mam Prapadyate in 7th chapter. Bahunam means after many births. Bahunam Janmanam, after many births. You can split the verse, you can understand. Bahunam Janmana Ante. Ante means after many births. Who is that? Jnanavan. Who is Jnani? Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. Jnanis come and surrender to me. Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. What they will do after surrendering? Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Everything is actually Sri Krishna. Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Sa Mahatma. Such a Mahatma is Sudurlabaha. Durlabaha means rare. Sudurlabaha means very rare. But such a Mahatma who says that Krishna is everything, inside and outside, everything. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. It's very rare to see in this world. That's why we cannot see a person who is very rare, who is fully dedicated to Sri Krishna. No, very few people are there. But Bhagavad Gita says that it's the reality of this world that who are 100% devoted to the Lord are actually real valuable jewels or valuable gems. Even if you see a valuable gem, it's not easily found in the market. It's very, very rare and very expensive. So bhakti is also very, very precious and very, very rare, pure bhakti. Mixed bhakti everybody has, but pure bhakti means selfless, loving, devotional service to the Lord. It's very rare and precious jewel, which if anybody can attain, that's the greatest benedictions or blessings as a human we can receive on this planet Earth. So Bhakti Yoga. So here we are going to talk about the components of Jnana Yoga. So this chapter 13 is, we are going to, before this chapter 12, it's a recap. Last week we have discussed the last aspect of the Bhakti Yoga, the conclusive chapter which says the essential path of Bhakti, where the Arjuna begins with a question whether to worship God in a personal form or impersonal form, which is better and which is considered to be higher. And then Krishna is saying worshipping God with form is definitely easiest way and the highest way. And then Krishna gives, if you want to worship, and there are various gradations of options, full absorption or sadhana bhakti, or then you go for dhyana, or you go for renunciation of fruits, and like this he's giving various options. And then Krishna gives the qualities of the devotees which make him very dear to him. So that qualities were described from the last section of this 12th chapter. So this is 12th chapter. And then quickly I will go through the summary. I'm not going to go in detail, but whatever we discussed from chapter 7 to 12. So 7 to 12 is focusing on Bhakti Yoga. So 7th chapter, Krishna is telling about his material and spiritual energies. Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kammano buddhi revacha. Ahankara ityam me binna prakriti rastada. So Krishna is revealing his material and spiritual energies because his whole world is functioning by energies, and the energy comes from the energetic. When you say sun energy, it comes from sun planet. So when you say energy, immediately there is a source from where these energies are coming. So that is Krishna is the source of material and spiritual energies. And 7th chapter also discusses about 4 kinds of pious people who worship Krishna. Artho, Arthati, Jijnasu, Jnani. And also 4 kinds of impious people who don't worship or surrender to Krishna. That is Asuram, Bhavam, Asrita. Chaturvida, Bhajante, Mam, Jana, Sukritina, Arjuna. Okay, this is Artho, Arthati, Jijnasu, Jnani. They are pious people. And then Namam, Duskritino, Muda. Prapadyante, Naradama. Asuram, Bhavam, Ashritaha. 4 kinds of people. They do not worship Krishna. As the demonic people, lowest of the mankind, Maya, Apata, Jnana, and foolish people, Muda. 4 categories. And also Krishna very detailed explained about that all the demigods and Krishna is not same. So Krishna says some people worship demigods and some people worship impersonalism. Impersonal means worship God without form. So we in Bhakti Yoga, we worship God with form. But there are people who worship God without form. So 2 categories of worship is given in 7th chapter. One is worshipping God with some worshipping demigods, Devata, which we tell in other religions as angels. And some people worship impersonal form of the Lord. And who is free from sins, he can have a Drida Bhakti. Determined Bhakti, 7th chapter. So in 7.29 30, Krishna mentioned several items starting from Brahman. So in 7th, in the 7th 29 to 30, finishing of the 7th chapter, he uses little technical terminologies. So those things are elaborated in chapter 8. And that chapter 8 is attaining the Supreme. And Krishna says how to attain him. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajantante kalevaram. Tam tam eveti kaunteya sadatat bhava bhavitaha. Whoever remembers Krishna at the time of death attains him. Jnanis and yogis attain the liberation by path of light. And karmi, he comes back to this world. So reincarnation is a foundation principle of our scriptures. So we come back. So the karmis come back. The yogis and jnanis attain moksha. whereas the devotees go back to the spiritual world. So there are different destinations for different people. But Bhakti Yogi, who quits this material world full of miseries and attains Krishna's spiritual abode, which is called as Vaikuntha or spiritual planet, which is about the Brahma Jyoti, how by practicing pure Bhakti. So that was a glory of Bhakti, because we are entering into the kingdom of God. That's the most glorious destination. So how to attain that pure Bhakti? That is Ananya Bhakti. Krishna describes in 9th chapter, the most confidential knowledge, how to get the pure Bhakti, whereby we can get the entry into the spiritual world, which is full of bliss. Here also people sometimes try to go to America because life is little bit higher standard there materially. So like that, who are here spiritual people, they want to transcend this material world and enter into the spiritual world by practicing Bhakti Yoga, where they can have a blissful life in association with the Supreme Lord. For that, Krishna is giving 9th chapter, Ananya Bhakti. So Krishna is giving that is Rahasya, most confidential knowledge. So Krishna is saying he creates, maintains and destroys this world by his majestic powers. But however, is there fact, but there are fools and jnanis who approach Krishna in different ways. They do not accept that. But direct bhakti to Krishna is best. So Krishna is specially inclined to his devotee and forgives him for accidental mistake. Even the path of bhakti, if you do some mistake, Krishna is merciful. He forgives and tries to purify you. And based on this, we are progressing to the 9th point, last section of this verse is 9.34, Manmanavo Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. So Krishna is saying that how we have to fix the mind upon him. In the line 9.34, Manmanabhav Madbhakto, become my devotee. How to fix the mind upon him? So Krishna starts explaining his affluences, his vibhuti, so that by seeing his vibhuti, we can fix our mind on him. So that vibhuti yoga is 10th chapter, where Krishna's vibhuti has explained that he is the origin of everything. And Arjuna also accepts the statement that Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. Yes, I accept that you are the supreme. Not only me, all the sages and saints like Asita, Devala, Vyasa, they also accepted that. So he's all-pervading super soul and everything in the cosmos. So all the vibhutis are explained in 10th chapter, so that we know by these vibhutis, we can easily remember Krishna. Then at the last of 10th chapter, Krishna is saying that he is pervading this entire universe by just ekam stena sthito jagat, by a fraction of his energy. He is supporting and pervading this entire universe. Immediately, Arjuna became curious. He wanted to see that all-pervasive universal form. Then we progress to 11th chapter, the universal form or Vishwarupa, where Krishna exhibits his universal form, where he can see everything, past, present, and future, all the demigods, devatas, Rudra, Brahma, and all the devatas are there, and a lot of people are entering into Krishna's mouth as the form of death. And seeing this, Arjuna became bewildered. The time form of the Lord is very frightening. So he again offered prayers to come back to his Shamashundara form. This pleasing 200 form. Krishna again came back to his Shamashundara form. And he says this Shamashundara form you can see only through Bhakti Yoga. Again, he is stressing on Bhakti. Krishna established the supremacy of Bhakti Yoga into his personal form. So immediately Arjuna is having a doubt. Which form is better that we discuss now? With worshipping with form is higher or worshipping impersonal? Formless God is higher. Then Krishna answered that worshipping God with form is higher. However, people who are worshipping without form also, they will also come to him, but their path is very troublesome and difficult, and after a long time they will attain him. So worshipping form is more direct way of approaching God. So that finishes this summary of 7 to 12. And today we are going into Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13. So we will get a lot of knowledge from this 13 to 18. We get a lot of informations, a lot of psychological aspects, a lot of practical aspects, how our mind is functioning, why we are behaving in a certain way. All those things will be explained and coming on from 13, 14, 15 like that. So that's why you can see the title itself, nature, the enjoyer, the Purusha, and the consciousness. The consciousness means the life within us. The soul is the life and the consciousness is like the sun rays. So that we are going to understand what is this consciousness about. And in this chapter, we are also going to understand who is the enjoyer. We are always saying, I want to enjoy. Who is the enjoyer? That subject we are going to discuss in 13th chapter. And also the most challenged question for all the theists who believe in God is people who don't believe in God ask this question, or people who believe in God also, they have this doubt that why do bad things happen to good people? This is a challenging question which everybody in their life At least one time this question will come in their mind if they are either believers or if they are non-believers. Still this question is going to come. Why do bad things happen to good people? So there is a hint on this chapter regarding this question. Where is my freedom? Do we really have freedom in this material world? That also we are going to see. And there are three doers in this world. Who are the three doers? We think that only we are doing, but behind the screen there are two more doers. So let us see who are the two more doers. And lastly, this question comes sometimes in the childhood, sometimes in the adulthood, or sometimes in the old age. Why at all God created this mess? What is the purpose? What do you want to achieve by all these things we are discussing? Somebody is saying worship God, somebody is saying don't worship God. So what is the purpose of this material creation? So all these things we are going to discuss in this chapter 13. So from these questions, you can understand how important this chapter will be there to enhance your knowledge on about understanding yourself and about the universe. So vision of a transcendentalist, a person who is situated spiritually in platform, how does he see everything in this world? The world is same, but a scientist will see the world in a different way, whereas a spiritual person will see a world in a different way. So both see the world in a different way. So vision of a transcendentalist. So we are coming to this chapter 13, the nature, enjoyer, and consciousness. So the final 6 chapters focus on jnana. That means transcendental wisdom. How does this transcendental wisdom help? It will help one to become detached from material aspirations and simultaneously attached to Krishna. The purpose of this wisdom is to slowly detach from all these material anchorings. And that detachment you will parallelly attaching with the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Chapter 13 covers the topics previously discussed, but explores them in a more analytical way. So whatever discussed earlier, we are going to see that, but in a more detail or in more depth. Thus, wise readers can take advantage of the logical presentations made by Krishna to strengthen their conviction and deepen their understanding. So two things is more important by studying this chapter is to strengthen our conviction and to deepen our understanding. So this is what acronym we are going to use for this chapter is called WISE because it's wisdom. We are going to see wisdom. So this chapter acronym is WISE. So what is W stand for? WISE means wise questions, and I for items of knowledge, and S for soul and super soul, and E for enjoyer. So this is what we are going to see here. Wise, there are 35 verses in this chapter. W, wise questions. First 7 is again same like chapter 8. Krishna asks some many questions. Adi Bhutam, what is Adi Yajnam, Adi Bhutam? So many questions Arjuna asked in the beginning of 8th chapter and Krishna starts answering. Similar way, here also Arjuna is going to put questions on various topics in the beginning and Krishna is going to answer. That is all first 7 verses. Questions and answers by Krishna. The questions by Arjuna and answers by Krishna. And second is, what are the items that constitute actually knowledge? Krishna says these all items are knowledge. Other than this, outside of this is actually ignorance. That is 8 to 12. And 13 to 19 is going to discuss about the soul and the super soul. Super soul means Paramatma. Soul means Atma. And last E stands for enjoyer. That is from verse number 20 to 35. So these are the items of discussion in today's chapter 13. So first verse, 13.1, Arjuna Uvacha. This is the question Arjuna is going to ask now. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajam Evacha Etat Veditum Ichchami Jnanam Nyayam Cha Keshava. See, these are all questions. Keshava, what is Prakriti? What is Purusha? What is Kshetram? What is Kshetrajna? What is Jnanam? What is Nyayam? These are all questions. Cha Keshava. Oh, my dear Lord Krishna, please explain me all these things. This is a question. So Arjuna wants to know about 6 things here. What is this? Prakriti. What is Prakriti? In bracket you can see Prakriti means, in Sanskrit it is Prakriti, in English it is called as nature. We always say nature. Nature gives us everything. Fruits, flowers, food, grains, everything. Rain, air, water, fire, air, ether. So Arjuna wants to know what is Prakriti. Of course, this nature, what is this? Krishna is answering this, but it is always already in the bracket. Purusha, the enjoyer. Kshetra means the field. Kshetra means kalam, field. And Kshetrajna means one who knows the field. And Jnanam, So what is given is in the Sanskrit. Equivalent English is given within the bracket. Jnana means knowledge. We know that Jnana Yoga, knowledge. And the process of knowing is also called as Jnanam. And Jnana means the object of the knowledge. So these are the 6 things. Arjuna is asking Krishna, please explain what is Prakriti, what is Purusha, that means what is nature, what is the enjoyer, who is the enjoyer, Kshetra, what is the field of activities, what is Kshetrajna, who is the knower of the field, Jnanam, what is knowledge, and Nyayam, what is the object of the knowledge. So these questions Arjuna is putting forth in front of Sri Krishna. So here you can see Arjuna's 6th question, Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, Nyayam. Okay. So we are going to see here all these things in the coming answers. Now, 13.2, Krishna started answering. Okay. So you can see here, Kshetra. What is Kshetra means field, right? Where is the field? The field of activities means the body, because all the activities are carried out through this body. Okay, so any activity means Kshetra actually means the body is called our human body or any body where the activities are happening. That is called Kshetra. So that answer. So Krishna clarified Arjuna, Kshetra means the body, where the field of activity. Now Kshetrajna. What is Kshetrajna? The object of the knowledge. That means one who knows this body, he is called a Kshetrajna. So I am having a body, I know whatever is happening in my body. Like I know I am sad, I know I am happy, I know I have a pain in my head. Everything I am knowing. See, I am the knower. What is happening in my body, everything I am perceiving. That's called consciousness. So that person or the consciousness which knows, the knower of the body, that means it is actually soul. Kshetrajna means soul, because the soul knows what is happening in the body. Now in this body, there are 2 knowers, not only one knower, 2 Kshetrajnas are there. One is the soul, which I know what is happening in my body, and there is a super soul, Paramatma. The difference between the soul and the super soul, 2 Kshetrajna is, as a soul, I know what is happening in my body, but I do not know what is happening in my family, my friend's body, or I do not know what is happening in my relative body. I do not know. I can know only what is happening in my body. But the super soul, Paramatma, knows what is happening in every body. That is the difference between the soul and the super soul. So there are 2 Kshetrajnas. One is the soul and the second is the super soul. And the third question, Jnana. What is Jnana means? Knowledge. Perfect knowledge of the constitution of the body, the constitution of the individual soul, and the constitution of the super soul in terms of Vedic literature as Jnana. Srila Prabhupada is writing. So what is knowledge? You should know about your body, knowledge about the body, you know it is perishable, and also the constitution of the individual soul. The soul is animating this body. Because there is a soul, I am able to talk. Because you have a soul, that's why you are able to hear. The moment the soul leaves the body cannot function anymore. It is dead. So you should know the constitution of the individual soul and the constitution of the super soul. You know there is with the soul, there is also a super soul, Paramatma, guiding us the path of this human journey or any journey within this material world. So these are all together, if you know this knowledge that about your body, about the constitutional position of your soul, and the constitutional position of the super soul, that is called as knowledge or jnana, not our engineering or medical degree. That's not called jnana. That is academic knowledge, bodhiga jnana. But according to the scripture, when you know these things, then actually you are having jnana, otherwise no. So here you can see what is the body and what is this universe. You can see there are 24 material elements comprised in this universe. Starting from the gross, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu, earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are Panchabhutas. We all know this. Okay, this is 5. And there are 5 jnanendriyas. Jnanendriyas means knowledge acquiring senses, by which you gain knowledge. Like when you study in the school, kindergarten, we say A, apple. So you see the apple by your eyes, you know it is red color. Then you taste the apple, then you get the taste of the apple. So you understand apple means red color, it tastes sweet. This knowledge you got by your jnanendriya. So what are the jnanendriya? We have 5 jnanendriya: eye, ear, nose, tongue, and touch. So 5 plus 5, now 10. Then there is karmendriya. There are 5 karmendriyas or working senses. What are the 5 working senses? Voice. See, I am speaking now. That is a working sense. The tongue is actually, you can see it is a jnanendriya as well as a karmendriya. Jnanendriya means by tasting, you get the knowledge. It is sour, it is bitter, it is sweet. But by speaking, it is karma, it is action. So it is a karmendriya. And leg for walking, that is a karmendriya. Hand for doing some activity, that is a karmendriya. And evacuating organs, your rectum and all those things, evacuating is very important function of the body. That is a karmendriya. It is functioning every day. And the reproductive organs by which we maintain our progeny. So the reproductive organs also karmendriya. So see here, 5, 10, 15. Now, subtly there are three more. Subtle, mind, intelligence, and false ego, software. These are hardware. And these three is software. Mind, intelligence, manam, buddhi, ahankar. You can see here. And mind is like the CPU. It will direct all these senses. Karmendriya, jnanendriya. Suppose the mind is having a desire to eat ice cream. Then it immediately will dictate the leg to, okay, go to the nearby ice cream shop. I want an ice cream now. So the leg will function based on the command from the mind. And the tongue will taste the ice cream and then the mind will enjoy through the tongue. But the intelligence is stronger than the mind. What happens? The intelligence says, no, ice cream is not good for health. Even though the mind may desire, the intelligence controls the mind. And the false ego is a connecting thing between the body and the soul. False ego means to think that I am this body. So that is called false ego. And I am the enjoyer. But real ego is to know that I am soul and I am part and parcel of God. Okay, so false ego means the connecting bond between the body and the soul. The connecting bond is called false ego. And pradhana means the root ingredient from where all this formed. All these panchendriyas, earth, water, fire, whatever formed is from this actually raw material called pradhan. Okay, so that is 19. And as furthermore we come, what is the form? Rupam, Gandham, Shaptam. So, when you have eyes, then you will have a rupam, form to see. When you have a ear, you should have a sound to hear. When you have a nose, you should have some fragrance to hear, smell. And when you have a tongue, you should have some taste, like sugarcane is sweet, Karela is bitter. So the taste. So these are the objects of the senses. Okay. So this is another 5. So 24 came. And then this all is there, 24 material elements. There is a soul and a super soul. So you can see a spirit soul and there is a super soul. So together 24, 25, 26. With this network, we are functioning within the body. Within this network, so we are covered with these 24 elements. The soul is within these 24 elements, you can imagine. And the time is also one of the factors which is called as the 25th element. 25th element is actually time. So with this interaction, sometimes we are enjoying pleasure and sometimes you are experiencing pain. And with this, you are having desire. And with this, we are maintaining hatred. And the super soul is witnessing all of our activities. So this is called jnana, to understand what I am, how I am, why I am, and all this, how this universe is formed, what are the material ingredients which forms this universe, and all this karmendriya, jnanendriya, stula sarira, sukshama sarira, and this all these things together. Okay, this is material elements. Here you can see summary of field of activity. Why it is said? Because Krishna said this body is the field of activity, all these 24 elements. Same thing is again here. So when there is a life force, then the 6 things happens within the life. There is a birth, then it grows, it stays, it produces offspring, dwindles, and death. These are the 6 transformations your body will undergo within this material world. Interaction of field of activities. Because of this interaction of all this, you get experience happiness or distress, or you experience desire or hatred. So what is life? Life is presented when there is consciousness. Consciousness means, suppose you are watching a drama and also there is a video camera recording the drama. What is the difference? When you see the drama, you are experiencing some emotions. That is called consciousness. You are feeling. You know what is happening. But a video recorder also is recording, but it is not having any feeling. That is a consciousness. Consciousness means you can feel. I can think. I can feel. So that consciousness, from where it is coming? From the soul, this consciousness is coming. If you compare sun to the soul, the consciousness is like a sun rays. So throughout our body, consciousness is spread from the soul, which is seated in our heart. So we should understand what is consciousness means. I am conscious of what is happening within my body. I am conscious of my feelings. I am conscious of what is my mood, everything. So consciousness. Now Arjuna is thinking how to cultivate this knowledge. This is Arjuna's thinking like that. So now question and answer completed from Arjuna and Krishna. Already we said 6 questions. Jnanam, Nyayam, and all those things, whatever we discussed. Now items of knowledge. This is second part of 13th chapter, 8 to 12, where these verses describe 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 verses. These verses describe how the Kshetrajna, who is a Kshetrajna? Kshetra means field, Jna means knower of the field. Who knows the field? Who knows the body? The spirit soul, Atma. These verses describe the Kshetrajna, spirit soul, can disentangle himself from the Kshetra. The soul can disentangle from the body. How it can disentangle? Now it is entangled. How it can disentangle? By cultivating jnana, knowledge. That's why Krishna is giving items of knowledge here. Since true knowledge is revealed within the heart of a deserving person. So you see, academic knowledge you get from books, but spiritual knowledge is revealed within the heart. It is already program is there, but the program is now closed. There is no access. There is a password. But when we are doing this devotional service, you unlock the password, and the knowledge which is already there start manifesting, start revealing. So spiritual knowledge, even though you read Bhagavad Gita from here, but this knowledge is already within us. Within the soul, it is there. When the soul comes, it already has all this knowledge. But it is all covered now with material knowledge. So the more you take spiritual practices, this knowledge is automatically manifesting within the heart of a deserving person. So the real method of acquiring knowledge is to cultivate good qualities, divine qualities, of which humility is the foremost. See, God is very much attracted if somebody is humble. Even in the Bible, it is said, the blessed are humble in their heart, for they shall seek enter into the kingdom of God. The more a person is humble, God becomes more attracted to him. We need not be attracted by God. When you are humble, God becomes attracted to us. You see, such a person, even though he has so much capabilities, he is so humble. So God gets attracted. So one of the important divine quality which God loves is actually humility, humble. Humble means, you are taking such a lower position, even though you have you are, actually doing so extraordinary activities. Like Prabhupada, he established International Society of Krishna Consciousness. He built 108 temples all around the world at the age of 70 to 80. And he turned the world upside down by Bhakti Yoga. But when Prabhupada asked, how did you achieve this? He said, I don't have any credit myself. I am just like a postman. What is in the scripture, I just presented as it is. Because of the potency of the scripture and because of the blessings of my spiritual master, my guru, this is all happening. Personally, I don't have any credit and I don't deserve any credit. This is called humility. Even though he achieved so much, he transformed many people all around the world. So much he did, but he was so humble that all the credits he has given to his guru and to Krishna. So knowledge is not about information. Actually, knowledge is about transformation. Knowledge is not about information and memorization, but rather about exemplary personal character. Our character should be exemplary and practical behavior. Tomorrow I am worshipping Krishna and my behavior is not good. Then people will see that, oh, this man is worshipping Krishna and you see how he is behaving. Better, I will also not worship Krishna because I will also become living. So our character and practical behavior should be exemplary, that people should see, oh, what this person is doing. He's such a nice person. He's very tolerant. He's very friendly. He's down to earth. So let me know. Let me also become like you. So like that, a devotee should be there. That's why Krishna is telling all these things, which disentangles the eternal soul from his deep-rooted identification with the body, its temporary dress. So when we cultivate this knowledge, we can experience that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. So what is knowledge? Knowledge is not only about information and memorization, but rather about exemplary personal character and practical behavior. Very important point. This is knowledge. Not today's academic knowledge does not teach all these things. Academic knowledge does not care about your personal character. You can be the best IT programmer or best person to materially, but personal life, you may be a very bad person. That is academic, academic, they don't care how you see your personal, they tell personal life you will not involve. But spiritual life means they focus on your personal character and how you behave with others, practical behavior. We are impressed by certain person behavior. At the same time, we are actually not happy when somebody behaves in a wrong way. So who can understand Bhagavad Gita? Very important point. You should all take note. Caliber versus character. Very important point. Success in academics depends on caliber, capacity, but not on character. Even my character is the worst character, but still I can be materially successful. You can see materially successful people in America or Western countries, hardly they have any character. Not only Western countries, throughout the world. Material success does not mean that they have character. They can be materially successful, but their character may not be that much to that mark. Sometimes you see politicians, they amass so much wealth. Materially, they are very successful. In personal life, they are very bad. No character. But spiritual subject matter is very less to do with caliber. So for spiritual subject, no need for any caliber. Anybody can. See, if you go for academics, only bright students can shine. But spiritual is not like that. Spirituality, nobody can check. It is not that I should be intelligent, I should be beautiful, I should have IQ. No, it does not depend on one's caliber, but it has a lot to do with one's character. If our character is not good, we cannot develop spiritual. Simple logic. That's why there is no use to rubber stamp that I am Christian or Hindu or Muslim. As long as our character is not good, we will never get the blessings of God. Very clear. So they have a lot to do with our character. But materially, we may be a poor person. Materially, maybe I am less intelligent, but still you can get the mercy of the Lord, provided you are humble and having a very good, ideal character by which you will get the mercy of the Lord. Who can understand Bhagavad Gita? The real method is, okay, we already developed. We can commit spiritual lifestyle. Then when we commit to our spiritual lifestyle, then simultaneously we can develop divine qualities. So if you are in that stage, and what is that? First quality is humility. We may achieve tremendous things, but we should always give the credit to God. Like even our ex-president, Dr. Abdul Kalam, if you read the Wings of Fire, if you read, at the last he's giving all, he has achieved so much. No, he was in the space research, he was the topmost. He did so much achievement, but he has given all the credit to God. If you see at the last 2 pages, he's writing about glorifying God. So this is humility. So what are these 20 items of knowledge which Krishna is describing here? Humility, amanitvam. In Sanskrit, is amanitvam means, see, first quality itself, Krishna is describing humility is very important in spiritual life. We already discussed this Mrigari story last week, how he was a hunter and he transformed and he was so humble and he was so tolerant that he don't want to kill the ants which is crossing on the pathway. So humility. Pridelessness, adambitvam. We should not be proud, because whatever we are doing, it is because of the mercy of God. The energy is given by God, Like we cannot be proud or whatever, pridelessness. Or that's why we glorify in bhakti, we glorify God. So adambitvam, non-violence, ahimsa. This quality only Mahatma Gandhi taken from Bhagavad Gita to follow. 2 things he taken from Bhagavad Gita, ahimsa and non-violence and truth. And tolerance means shanti. Simplicity, it should be very simple. Arjavam. Acharya upasanam. Accepting spiritual master. One's guru is very important for spiritual life. Acharya upasanam. Cleanliness. Internal cleanliness and external cleanliness. Cleanliness means saucham. And steadiness. Stairyam. Self-control. Atma vinigraha. 10. Renunciation of sense objects. Indriyarteshu vairagyam. See, very clear. You read the Sanskrit, you can understand. Indriyarteshu vairagyam. Vairagyam means, no, you are renounced, you are under full control. Indriya means senses. Self-control. Atma vinigraha. Absence of false ego. Anahankaraha. Perceptions of evil. Janma mrityu jaravyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Lord Buddha, he renounced the palace by seeing these evils of this birth, death, old age, and disease. So the more you focus on sufferings of this material world, the more you will develop spiritually. Because if you think this world is a place of enjoyment, the more mind will want to enjoy this world. But these are harsh realities in this world. Birth, janma, mrityu, death. Death is taking away, stripping everything from us. Jara means old age, which nobody likes. And vyadi means disease. Everybody prays to God to have a healthy body. But these are forced upon us. So we should know that this life is not very happy life. It's a miserable life because of all this. So if you focus that, then you will focus the alternative. Suppose you are living in Kuwait and this country, I am not very happy. I am Immediately what you will do, you will start to migrate to another country. Suppose somebody from India, they thought, oh, India, I'm not able to earn good money. Well, I want to earn good money. Immediately they apply and then come to abroad. So when you know the place which you are staying is not good, then immediately your focus will be to migrate to another place. So there is, according to Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has given that there is two worlds. There is a material world and spiritual world. So spiritual world means there is a place where you don't have birth, death, old age, and disease. There is no repeated cycle of birth and death. And you have an eternal life of happiness. And this is a material world which is full of misery, where there is a lot of issues. You all know that every day you are seeing the news, global warming, climate change, corruption, diseases, COVID, corona. Every day you have get some surprise and shocks. And we know that this world is not a very safe place to live. There are so many issues here. So the spiritual person want to migrate from this material world to, he is applying for a green card. He is want to go into permanent PR, into spiritual world. That's how he is taking the spiritual world, starts practicing the devotional service so that he will enter into the world where he can be eternally happy. He don't want to suffer anymore in this material world. That is, Krishna is saying perceptions of evil. Janma mrityu jara vyadi. And 13 is detachment, ashakti. And no entanglement, anavishwangaha, not entangled with this fruitive activities. Even-mindedness, our mind should be even. Nityam cha samachittatvam. These are the verses quoted in the slokas. So English translation. Unalloyed devotional service, ananya bhakti. See, very clearly Krishna is telling here bhakti again. We should have ananya bhakti, unalloyed devotional service. Aspiring to live in solitary place, viviktas deva sevitvam. Detachment from the general mass of people. Artir jana samsiddhi. Like too many people are there and will be distracted. So we can see here 20 characters, 20 qualities are described with Krishna. Amanittam, Matamittam, Ahimsa, Shanti, Rajam, Acharya, Upasanam, Saucham, Stairim, Atma, Indriyarteshu, Vairagyam, Anahankara, Evacha, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Doshana, Darshanam, Putra, Desha, Nityam, Charamachittatam, Maichananya, Yogena, Bhakti, Ravi, Bhacharya, Vikta, Desha, Sevitvam, Arti, Jana, Samsiddhi, Adhyatma, Jana, Tatta, Jishna. So, in English, you can see the translation: humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, cleanness. So this I will share in the group after that. So later you can see this in detail. It is applicable to devotees and jnanis. It is amanvitam. It is applicable to what kind of spiritual people. And this last four, you can see this ananya bhakti is only applicable to devotee. Others all mixed with jnanis also, because jnanis are people who worship God in impersonal, without form, and devotees worship with form. So which quality is applicable to where? So jnanis and devotees equally applicable, except that 16th quality, Mai Chananya Yogena Bhakti Ravi Picharina. Constant and unalloyed devotion to me, that jnanis don't have, only the devotees have. And that last two is only for jnanis, not for devotees. Accepting the importance of self-realization, philosophical search for absolute truth. So this is what Krishna is saying. 19, accepting the importance of self-realization and search for absolute truth. So second section completed. Now we are going to the third section. Here you are going to see this whole acronym is WISE. So firstly, WISE questions, items of knowledge we have seen 20. Now we are seeing the third section, soul and super soul, 13 to 19, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 97 verses. So soul and super soul, having described the Kshetra, field, Kshetrajna, the soul, and Jnana, the object of knowledge, which is the last 20 qualities. Krishna now describes Jnayam, the object of knowledge. See, with this knowledge, the object of knowledge is soul. The soul, we are going to perceive the soul by this, right? Humility, for what? You have to realize that you are not this body, you are soul. How do you realize that? What is the object? Object of knowledge is actually Jnayam. Jnayam is the object of knowledge. Here our object of knowledge is actually soul. So that's why soul and super soul. The purpose of knowledge is to realize the soul, because now only we theoretically know we are soul, but we have not realized. So if you want to realize it, that is the purpose of knowledge, is to realize the soul. And not only the soul, the super soul who is also sitting near to the soul, who are eternally individual, but at the same time intimately connected. The soul and the super soul are intimately connected. It is the prerogative of the soul to understand the super soul. But the super soul is sometimes described as avignayam, or unknowable. How to reconcile this? Empirical researchers who try to fathom the supreme using mundane logic and material sense perception are invariably baffled, and the super soul within remains unknowable to them. However, those who approach the subject matter with proper attitude, ready and willing to gain insight through the eyes of great teachers can surely realize the super soul, the object of all knowledge. So, by this knowledge, jnanam, we are going to realize jnayam, the object of knowledge. These two things, soul and super soul. The super soul, somebody thinks that it is very difficult to unknowable because if you go through empirical research, you cannot understand super soul. But if you go through the process of bhakti by the devotion practices, both soul and super soul can be perceived at the same time. So, object of the knowledge, soul, features of the soul, anadi. So, this is also described. What are the features of the soul? Anadi means the soul did not have a starting time. It is beginningless. So, there is no time that the soul is created millions of years ago. No. Anadi means you cannot trace back the time. It is beginningless. And mat param, under my shelter. The soul is under the shelter of God. And it is beyond material cause and effect. So, the soul is beyond material effects. Okay. And the benefit of this knowledge is, what is the benefit of all this is we will become blissful when we realize this. And what are the features of super soul? We saw here soul. We are going to see here what are the features of the super soul. That is described in 13th chapter, this chapter 14 verse. He is omnipotent means he is all powerful. The Paramatma is all powerful, omnipotent. This is an English word where saying that God is all powerful. The powerful means he accepts our offering. He hears our prayers. Now I am sitting here, I am praying to God, he can hear it. That's why they are saying prayers can move mountains. Why they say like that? Because prayers are very powerful. Even if you are sleeping, you are praying to God, God hears your prayer because he is omnipotent. It is not that only when you go to the temple and pray, God will listen. No. Wherever you are, if you pray to God, he will listen to you. And he is a witness. Upadrishta, Anumantacha, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. Upadrishta means he is the overseer of all our activities. Seer. He is a witness. Seer of all our activities, etc., etc. And all pervading. Example, we may think how God can be all pervading. See how sun is all pervading. Even though it is millions of miles away from the earth, but sun rays is throughout the world. So if a material object which is created by God can be all pervading, why the Paramatma cannot be all pervading? So that is all pervading. Example of sun. Continuing to the qualities of super soul, he is transcendental. That means he is beyond our senses. We cannot perceive super soul through our senses. Beyond sense perception. And he is undivided. Again, see, every living entity has a Paramatma. Like within my heart, there is Atma Paramatma. Within everyone's heart, there is Atma and Paramatma. Within a mosquito body, there is Atma Paramatma. Within an elephant body, also Atma Paramatma is. So every Atma is individual. But Paramatma is not individual. How, even though he is in every body, how he is not divided? The example is given is, when there is a sun, and if you see droplets of water, so many drops of water is there on the ground. So in every drop of water, you see a small sun reflection. You see the sun in that, Like that, the Paramatma is present in everybody, but there is only one sun. There is only one Paramatma, but he is present in every living entity. That is called undivided. So you can see that how you can understand. This is Ishopanishad, the invocation mantra from the Upanishad. Ishopanishad. You have 108 Upanishad. Among the 10 prominent Upanishad, one Upanishad is Ishopanishad. In that the invocation mantra, Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vishishyate. So it is, the word is the meaning of this verse. The Lord is perfect and complete. He is perfect and he is complete. Two things. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, whatever is emanating from him, he is completely perfect. Whatever emanating from him, like this world, this material world, phenomenal world, are also perfectly equipped as a complete whole. This world is also perfect. But why we say this world is having so many problems? Why it is imperfect? It is imperfect because lack of God consciousness. Because we are not connected to God, this world becomes imperfect. If you are connected to God, this world itself will become Vaikuntha for us. Whatever is produced of the complete world, that is God, is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, God, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains a complete balance. So it is like little bit tricky statements are given. Complete whole, complete, perfect, complete. That means God is perfect and complete. Whatever is coming out from him, like this material world or Jivatma, everything coming from him, he is also perfect and complete. And even though so many perfect and complete is coming out of him, still he is perfect and complete. That means like if you take halwa and you divide to 10 people, then there is no more halwa in the vessel. But Krishna is emanating all this creation. It does not mean that God is finished now because he has spread himself. No. Still he is perfect and complete. Even though so many perfect and complete emanations come from him. It's called jnana, knowledge. How to understand the object of knowledge? Somehow or other, if one meets a saintly person and achieves this favor, then the entire mission of one's human life is fulfilled. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kahe, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hai. That means you will be very fortunate if you meet a sadhu in your life, because he will transform your life. If you meet a real sadhu, genuine sadhu, not the cheater, people who are in the guise of sadhu, who will take your wealth or cheat you for your money. No. If you meet a real sadhu whose life is dedicated to the service of the Lord, then your life will be instantly transformed. Then the entire mission of the human's life, taken from Srimad Bhagavad 3.3 canto, 22 chapter, verse number 5. So that is on third part, soul and the super soul. Krishna says, Upadrishta Anumantacha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatmeti Chapito Deheshmi Purusha Paraha. 13th chapter, 21 verse, Krishna says, what is the role of Paramatma? Upadrishta. Upadrishta means I am the overseer. Upadrishta Anumanta, I am the permitter. Like I desire that I want to enjoy certain thing. God sees your credit balance of karma. If he will approve, then material world will give it to you for your enjoyment. If he will not approve, then you may desire, but you will meet failure. Meet failure. You cannot enjoy what you are desiring. So Upadrishta Anumanta Cha, and he is also enjoyer. Now we are going to see the enjoyer part here. Enjoyer also, there are two enjoyers. Like Nyayam, the object of knowledge is two. What is it? Soul and super soul. Here also enjoyer is two enjoyer within our body. One is the soul, Purusha, and also the super soul. There are two enjoyers are there. So enjoyer, verse number 20 to 35, the big part here. The chapter concludes with the description of the final two terms, Prakriti and Purusha. What is Prakriti? What is Purusha? The conditioned soul, like we are Jivatma, desires to control and enjoy matter. See, Prakriti means nature. Like we are drilling and taking oil and trying to enjoy. So the conditioned soul desires to two things, control and enjoy Prakriti. Okay, matter, material nature. And it is this enjoying spirit that binds him to the material world. As long as we desire to enjoy this Prakriti, Krishna will give you another body. Now we die at the age of 80 years. Still you have some desire to enjoy this world. Krishna is telling Tatastu. Okay, I will give you another body. Fulfill your desires and come. So next you take a body, again you enjoy. But mind is not satisfied. Again there are some unfulfilled desires. Krishna is going to give you another body. Again we enjoy. This body you get based on our karma. Based on our punya or papa, we get an elevated body or a degraded body. But this journey in this material world will continue. Why? Because as long as we want to enjoy this world, Krishna will give us many bodies. But Krishna is telling, no, come back to spiritual world. Don't take this miserable material body which is subjected to birth, death, old age and disease. But the super soul, Paramatma, is actually the enjoyer also, the Purusha. See, who is the real enjoyer is the Paramatma. And everything material and individual is ultimately meant for his enjoyment. Whatever is in this world, it is for the enjoyment of God. Of course, he has given for our enjoyment also. But in relationship with him, we can enjoy, but not individually, independent of him. Just as pouring water over the root of a tree energizes the trunk, if you pour water, we are not seeing the root, right? But we are pouring the water into the root. Then we are seeing the tree is getting healthy. So just as pouring water to the root of the tree energizes the trunk, branches and twigs. Similarly, offering worship and service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what happens for his pleasure? You have to underline this word. For his pleasure. Bhukti means I am putting my effort for my enjoyment. Bhakti means I am putting the same effort for God's enjoyment. So same thing, if you offer your worship and service to Supreme Personality for his pleasure and satisfaction, what happens? It is like automatically pouring the water to the root of the tree. Automatically brings satisfaction to all living entities, including ourselves. Yashmin tushte, jagat tushtam. If you pour the water on the root, the tree is energized. Similarly, if you serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, automatically Krishna becomes satisfied and all the living entities also become satisfied, including ourselves. Yashmin tushte, jagat tushtam. You can see the example of gopis, how they were so much selflessly dedicating for the happiness of Krishna. So it is said that the gopis' worship of Krishna is the topmost worship of bhakti. Bhakti, they were the epitome of bhakti, that they given their mind, body, and words in for the pleasure of the service of the Lord. That's why this image is here. Bhakti. Gopis are there with Krishna, and Krishna is enjoying playing the flute. He did this Rasa Leela dance also. So this is verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 6.17.18. 6th canto, 17th verse, 18. Samsara chakra etasmin jantur ajnana mohita brahmayam sukham cha dukkam cha bhunte sarvatra sarvada. Deluded by ignorance, ajnanam. The living entity wanders in the forest of this material world. This material world is like a forest, enjoying the happiness sometimes and distress, resulting from what? From his past deeds everywhere at all times. So whatever we are experiencing in this life now, it is a result of our past life. Enjoyment also is because of past life, and suffering is also because of the reaction of past life. Who is the enjoyer? We understood now Paramatma is the enjoyer. So what is the difficulty? Resources, see why we cannot enjoy this material world. The resources are limited. You know that now itself we are having global warming because everybody wants to enjoy. The desires are unlimited, but the resources are limited. So there is resulting in competition and exploitation. This is happening in this world. People are cheating. People are calling by phone telling, I am calling from police department, give me your bank number. Everybody is exploiting, cheating. So that is the reality. And we have a temporary body, we cannot enjoy it forever also. You know, sometimes the youth we can enjoy for some time. The reality check is frustration and desire. How to really enjoy. So what is the means to have real enjoyment? So this is how the real enjoyment. You can see here. Yata Srimad Bhagavatam 4.31.14. 4th canto 31 chapter verse number 14. Yata taror mula nischanena tripyanti taskanda bhujo prachakaha prano paharacha yetendriyanam tataiva sarvaharam achyutejya. As pouring water on the root of a tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs and everything else, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses, limbs and the body, simply by worshipping the Achyuta, Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service, automatically satisfies the demigods, devatas, who are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So very, very important knowledge. This all we get. Sometimes we are afraid that if I don't worship devata, they may be angry. But here it is said, the scripture Bhagavatam says, if you worship the Supreme Lord, automatically it satisfies the demigods, who are the part of that Supreme Personality. Because as a tree is energized, when you pour to the water, these demigods are the different parts of the tree. So that they get satisfied. And why do bad things happen to good people? Here we can see that Jivatma is in this material world. You can see here Jivatma, one person is sitting. And these say 5 senses are compared to, or 5 senses are compared to 5 wives. Imagine a person is marrying 5 wives. So every day one wife is pulling, you come to our, today you should stay with me, today you should stay with me. The person where he will go. So the eye is pulling to us for one direction. Nose is telling, okay, let me smell nice fragrances. They, you know, the perfume is a big business here, 60 kd, 80 kd, 100 kd. And the tongue wants to enjoy so many palatable dishes. So every day 100 hotels are being opened, restaurants are opened. And, you know, every senses is meeting, asking for demands for its sense object. And apart from this, there is a 6th wife called mind. So imagine a person, he is having 6 wives. Then he is pulled everybody, everywhere. That is the condition of Jivatma. So it is said that the deer, the weakness of the deer is actually the ear. As soon as the hunter will play the flute, the deer stops and the hunter will hit the deer with an arrow. And the elephant weakness is skin. It's so much fond of sex. So the female, what the person they do in the forest, they will send a female elephant in the front and they will dig a big hole. When the female elephant front, the male elephant follows the female elephant and it will fall into the ditch. And then they will capture it. And like that, you can see the firefly. If you see the fire, it is attracted by that fire, blazing fire, it will jump and kill its life. And for the nose also, there is a special bee which is intoxicated by the smell of the fragrance coming from the lotus flower. It goes inside and then the lotus will close. And next day morning, it is open, it is dead inside the petals. So many things are there. So those animals, only one sense organ is weak, they lost their life. And imagine we have 5 powerful sense organs, the Jivatma. So it's very difficult to come to spiritual path because every senses pull us in one direction. The mind is very powerful. That's why if you come to spiritual life, it's a great blessing. It's a mercy of the Lord. And if you are able to sustain spiritual life, then it is the ultimate blessing. It's not. So we can consider this, whatever we are hearing, Bhagavad Gita, we are able to chant Krishna's holy name, Hare Krishna mantra. It is definitely a great blessing, which is carried from our previous birth. It is not accidental. No. It is actually a blessing which is carried from a previous birth. Maybe previous birth we did some spiritual life and we are resuming our spiritual life where you are left. So we have to see Prakriti, Purusha and their union, 13.20. Actually, Purusha is the Lord. Purusha means enjoyer. Prakriti means material nature. Purusha means enjoyer. But the Jiva is trying to usurp that position. So the Jivatma want to become Purusha, false enjoyer. It want to imitate like the Lord. The Lord is enjoying because he has the capability. But we want to imitate like him. Like in a company, a T-boy, he wants to become the CEO of the company. What happens? The CEO can handle a lot of complex decisions, but somehow you put him, this T-boy, into the CEO, he cannot handle more than 1 hour. He don't know what decision to take, how to command. So like that, the Jivatma cannot enjoy this world, but he wants to enjoy. So that is why he is in the material world. So what is the purpose of material creation? To give rebellious Jiva a chance to reform his behavior and return back to spiritual world. So that question is also answered. What is the purpose of this creation? The Jivatma who said that I do not want you, God. I want to enjoy like you, but I don't want to enjoy with you. So that is a kind of rebellious nature. That Jivatma is given a chance in this material world to rectify his rebellious nature and then surrender to God. Manmanabhava madbhakto or sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam raja. Krishna is telling, come to me, surrender to me, I will take care of everything. And then go back to our original home, which is spiritual world, to have a blissful life with God. This is what every scripture is teaching, Bible or Quran or Bhagavad Gita. We want to go, our source was from spiritual world, our destination should be spiritual world. The more we are staying in this material world, we have to face a lot of anxieties, problems, pains, and so many kind of issues. So the Jiva in this material world is cause and effect are both handled by 3 modes of material nature. Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna, that we are going to discuss in the 14th chapter, like how we are like a puppets. The puppet is pulled by a string from a person behind. Similarly, by the gunas, we are forced to do certain things. If I am angry, that means I am controlled by Rajoguna. So nothing happens in this world by chance, as propagated by some scientists. Every effect has a cause. What is that actual cause? So every effect has a cause. And what is that actual cause? What is that actual cause? 13.21. Prabhupada writing, the living entity is blessed. See, is blessed or damned with the circumstances according to his past desire and activity. So, according to the present is due to the past and the future will be by your present. According to one's desires and activities, material nature places one in various residential quarters. The being himself is the cause of in attaining such residential quarters and attendant enjoyment or suffering. So, according to our karma, we are born in a certain country for certain parents, and we are enjoying or suffering based on that area where we are born in a country. Like suppose you are born in a wealthy country, you need not suffer so much like people who are born in a poor country. So that is because of our past karmic balance. Once placed in some particular kind of body, what happens? He comes under the control of nature because the body being material matter acts according to the laws of nature, material nature. At that time, the living entity has no power to change. Suppose the soul is put into a dog's body. What happens? Suppose an entity is put in the body of dog. He has to bark. He cannot do anything. As soon as he is put into the body of a dog, he must act like a dog. He cannot act otherwise. Suppose the same soul is put in a human body, he will act differently. So this is how our desires only is the reason. So where is my freedom? The Jiva in this world is actually, I am dependent. I am not freedom. I am not free. You can see the image in the right side. How I am being controlled by these 3 gunas. We think we are free, but we are actually controlled by these gunas. That's why a person who is drinking, he cannot give up drinking habit. A person who is smoking, he cannot give smoking habit because he has already formed a habit. He is under the influence of Rajoguna. Okay. So the Jiva in this world is dependent. And what is the function of the super soul? Upadrishta Anumantacha, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara, Paramatmeti Chapikto, Dehesmi, Purusha Para. The super soul is the overseer, he is the permitter, he will supervises everything, and he will sanction whether you have to enjoy your desired object. And he is the Purusha, the supreme enjoyer. You can see the image here, the super soul. And what are the last section? The three doers. Who are the three doers? Whatever we do in this world, we know the soul will desire. Using his free will, he can desire the things. Okay, the soul generates the desire using his free will. Like I have a time, I can attend Bhagavad Gita class, I can watch a movie also. So using that free will, we desire. And the super soul is seeing the desire and he will sanction. He will fulfill the desire according to our karmic credit. Okay, everybody is desiring to go to certain place or certain thing. The super soul will see whether you have this karmic balance. So then what happens? He will fulfill that based on your karmic. So this is the criteria. If you have the karmic balance, he will fulfill. Suppose I am an atheist, but I want to become a wealthy person. Still, you can become a wealthy person because you have this karmic credit. No need to pray to God. And the third is material nature carries out. As far as your desire, who is the agent fulfilling your desire? That is Prakriti or material nature. So carry out the actions to suit our desires. So you can see the agent is material nature, super soul will sanction, and the soul will desire. So this is very, very important to understand. So Jiva desires, Ishvara sanctions, and the Prakriti is arranges for your enjoyment. So Jiva becomes temporarily happy, but desire not satisfied. Desires never become satisfied. He wants more and better. So our mind nature is the more we enjoy, the more we want. So ever enjoyed, like ever satisfied, ever fed and never satisfied. Ever fed, never satisfied. This is the nature of our mind. And the Jiva desires, Ishvara rejects it based on karmic credit. Jiva becomes frustrated, hopeless, etc. So Arjuna pondered, how would common man understand all these things? How to understand? Bhakti is the easiest, conclusive advice. Take shelter of a pure devotee, hear from him about self-realization, follow in his footsteps. You can see this acharyas. This is our mission, vision. Hearing about the Lord, and you get knowledge, and then you get the transcendental vision or spiritual vision. What is the vision of transcendentalist? The true seer, he can distinguish the spirit and matter in all circumstances. Vidya Vinay Sampanne, Brahmini Gavi Astini, Sunichava Sapakecha, Pandita Samadarshana. Actual seer is, he does not see the body, he sees the soul and super soul which is situated in the body. A spiritual person will not see your body, whether you are ugly or beautiful, fair skin or dark skin, tall or short. No. He sees that you are an Atma. He sees in that angle. That is the vision of a transcendentalist. And he knows that the soul is there and Paramatma is there based on the instruction of direction of the super soul. The soul is acting in this body. So activities of the soul does nothing or does it mix with the body, but does, however, illumine the body with consciousness. The sun is the soul and the sun rays is the consciousness. As the sun rays is spread throughout the universe, the consciousness is pervading the entire body, but the soul is situated in one location within the region of the heart. And at the time of death, the soul is transferred to another small body, and then it goes birth, growth, byproducts, dwindling, old age, and death. 6 transformations you can see here. And this is the summary of today's what you have discussed. Acronym, wise questions. Arjuna is asking these 6 questions in the beginning. What is all these Prakriti, Jnanam, Nyayam, and all these questions. And Arjuna is answering all these things. Knowledge and items of knowledge. Krishna listed 20 divine qualities which is required if you want to spiritually realize that you are spirit soul. And then by that realization, we understand there is a soul and super soul. The soul is, the function is to desire, and the super soul is a witness. And the super soul, based on your desire, if you have a karmic credit, it will approve your desire and you can enjoy. Prakriti will give the enjoyment to you. If the super soul does not see you have enough credit balance, it will reject your desire, and then the Prakriti will not give what you desired. That time you become depressed and dejected. And finally, who is the real enjoyer? The real enjoyer is the Supreme Lord. He is called as Bhoktaram, Jnana Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He enjoys. And in association with him, we also become the enjoyers. Like we can enjoy in association with the Supreme Lord by performing devotional service. So this is a summary of chapter 13. And this also I will post it in the group. So you can read it when you are free. Thank you very much. I think you are on a bit 5 minutes extra, 7:15. So hope you understood whatever discussed. As I said, this is a technical chapter. It's not easy to understand, but you have to go through this again one more time, 1 or 2 times. Then you will understand the questions, items of knowledge, and the soul and super soul, and then they enjoy 4 part wise. So because this is a part of jnana, so this is having more information about our true constitutional position. So I have taken slides from many references as I have given credits here. Gita Life Evolve Pune and His Grace Amritananda Prabhu. And now it's a time for you to question and answer. If there is any questions, please feel free to type in the chat box, or you can unmute your mic and we can discuss those things. And here you see here, the next chapter is very, very interesting chapter. We are going to study the psychology of our nature. Why I am like this, why I am behaving like this, why I am thinking like this. So everybody knows, their own nature. How did this nature come? Somebody is like very happy person, somebody is an easygoing person, somebody is a short-tempered person, somebody is a patient person, somebody is a tolerant person, somebody is always smiling, somebody is always arrogant. So why all these things are happening within our psychological, psychosocial nature? Those things Krishna is going to give a very, very practical insights, very interesting and very easy to understand also, the puppet show. That is Bhagavad chapter 14, how these 3 modes of material nature, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, influences in our day-to-day life. And because of that, we act in a certain way, we deal in a certain way. And those things we can discuss coming Friday, evening 6 p.m. Same time, local time, at 8:30 p.m. Indian time on the same link. Hope you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So there is a one question in the chat box. Can you please clear about why do bad things happen to good people? So I told this is a very, very challenging question. There are people who are convinced with this answer, and there are people who are still not convinced with this answer. The scriptures explain that whatever we do in this life or previous, this is not our first life. Okay. As I said, there are 2 basic principles in our scriptures, which is not in the other scriptures, in the other holy scripture. Our basic Sanatana Dharma, or basic scriptures, give 2 important governing principles for this life. One is karma, one is reincarnation. And reincarnation is already, it's proven that there are a lot of scientific study for reincarnation. If you want to really, there's a separate detailed subject. I can give you plenty of references. If you are interested to know, I can share with you the details. It's all like a scientific research study which proves that reincarnation is true. So that is told in the scripture. So this is not one lifetime which we are living. We are seeing only this life. So we have lived here innumerable number of lives. And in this innumerable life of times, we have done so many actions. So some are good, some are bad, mixed. So we have our karmic balance called sanchita karma, called stored karma. Like if you go to a shopping shop, there are something display in the display. And when you ask them, they will go into the stock and check the stock and give it to you. Normally the display page, they don't give. So sanchita karma means stored karma. And what we are experiencing now is called prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma means that which has delivered already from the storehouse. That is what we are experiencing. This shape, this color, this I have born in India with this family and my knowledge, my level of intelligence. This all prarabdha karma. Now there is still stock, sanchita karma. These are also going to be delivered in due course of time in our journey of life, not only in this life, maybe next life, after 10 lives, after 100 lives, like that. So why a person is suffering? Very simple, that even though we may do good things or we may in this life be very good, there are activities which we did which is not conducive in the past life. Like if, for example, we say, there are 2 examples I can give. One example is, like if you go to a supermarket, you buy a lot of items. You buy some groceries, vegetables, you like eatables. Then also you buy some cleaners like washing machine powder or so many things. When you come to the bill counter, the person who is after billing, he puts all the chemicals in one plastic bag. All the food items he will put in separate plastic bag. He will not put it in the order which you purchased because he will see which is compatible. And then he will put it. He will never put food item and the chemical together. You have noticed. Same way, our karmic is mixed karmic. Some good, some bad, good, some good, some bad. According to the cosmic balance, sometimes good reactions will be delivered to you. Sometimes maybe you are very good for past 10 years, but a lot of bad things are happening. because a lot of your bad karma is being debited. One thing we should know very clearly, if I am suffering means my bad karma is reducing, because see, the stock is coming down. If I am suffering, they say that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. You should understand this quote very clearly. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. That means the tough part is going to move away from your life. So if I am suffering, that means my bad karma is reducing. If I am enjoying, my good karma is reducing, because this is given from your storehouse. So all these things we should understand, that there is like a silo where you put the paddy, you put in the silo. What happens? You grow good grains, but the first yield was very bad quality, that you put it in the silo storehouse. At the bottom you could open, and next to yield was like medium quality, and the latest one you see as a very good quality, you put it on the top. But when you open, the bad quality will come first. So sometimes in life we are bewildered that sometimes I am very good person, but I am suffering. Why? So we should understand that is because something we did in the past. And one more thing we should always remember, the more you, something which takes you closer to God, that is actually good karma. That's a very good karma. If I am suffering, but I am always thinking of God during my suffering, that means it's actually a good karma. But I am enjoying lot of benefits in my life, but I am going away far from God, it's a bad karma. So these things we should understand in a very broad perspective. It's a temporary life. Sometimes we may suffer, sometimes we enjoy, but at the last, this life will end like a dream. And we cannot take anything from this life. We can take only two things. One is our karma and one is our bhakti. These two things will come with us. These are the only baggage we will carry with us after death. So we should focus on cultivating good karmas, akarma, and also we should enhance our bhakti and make sure that we don't come to this material world after this. That in that way, if we perform bhakti, we will not come back. So hope that answer is clear. Prakash Prabhu, is it okay for you, or you want a little more explanation?
Yeah,
And
thank you, Prabhuji. I understand.
yes,
I have
of,
one more
yes,
clarification which I will send you in the chat box.
please send me, Prabhu. And thank you for all feedback on the chat box. Shobhana Mataji, Gopu Prabhu, Devendra Rathod Prabhu, and Shakarnath Murari Prabhu. Thank you. It's all because of mercy of Srila Prabhupada we are able to understand all these complex subjects. Yes, Prakash Prabhu. Also, one more thing about where is my freedom? Yes, freedom is always there, Prabhu. Like you have your freedom now, you can go somewhere outside, you can do something, but your freedom. You selected that. Let me understand, learn about Bhagavad Gita, one more chapter. Today, always every second there is a freedom, but that freedom is influenced by our three modes. Like suppose I have my freedom whether I can drink or not. But if I am a drunkard in the past, like last year, what will happen? When I am passing through this liquor shop, I will be influenced heavily to go inside or to drink. So freedom is there, but according to our nature or habit, if you are predominantly in Satoguna, my freedom, my choice will be in Satoguna only. Suppose I am in Satoguna, what happens? There is a music concert going on. You see, you open your newspaper, you see in your mobile or something, there's two invitations are there. One is a rap music and one is a Carnatic music is going on. If you are predominantly in Satoguna, you will be influenced to go to Carnatic music. And if you are in Rajoguna, you want to go to rap music. So freedom is there. I can go to Carnatic music or rap music, whatever. But that freedom is influenced by my three modes. That's why the puppet show we are going to see next week, how these gunas are influencing us even though we have a freedom. But we can change our guna also. Krishna is saying you can change your guna by practice. So the requisite for spiritual life is you should come to Satoguna first. From Rajoguna, we cannot practice spiritual life. It is difficult. So we can change the guna, and by changing the guna, we can exercise our free will in a proper way. Otherwise, I may know this is all correct, but I cannot follow. If I am in Rajoguna, I know this is correct, but I cannot follow in my life. So this is very important. That's why I'm saying 14th chapter is very, very important to understand our psychological nature and how to influence or change our psychology. So hope that is clear, Prabhu. So I think next chapter will be very, very important to understand and to yes. Thank you, Moli Mataji also. To enhance our behaviors, because as I said, character. Saying this is not that I am perfect, I am also struggling. But together, when we are understanding these concepts in a deeper perspective, We can enhance, you can change. We can see the change. We can see the change by practicing all those, whatever Krishna is saying in 14th chapter. 14th chapter and also 17th chapter also. 17th chapter also we have this, what kind of food influences our mood. So 14 and 17 is related. 14 is little brief, 17 is more detailed. So this 14 and 17 is like more practical aspects we can see. Thank you, Smith Chatani Mataji also. Thank you for your answer. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Whatever I know, I can share with you, or I can even refer and tell you if you have any queries. Okay. So if there are no further questions, actually, as I said, it's a technical chapter. Try to listen one more time this lecture. So you'll be able to have more clarity. Prakriti, Purusha, Jnanam, Jnayam, all those things. Yes. Shanmugam Prabhu, yes, yes, Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
இது திங்கக்கிழமை இது நடக்குதுங்களா? தமிழ்ல நடக்குதுங்களா?
Yes, ஆமா பிரபு, திங்கக்கிழமை நடக்குது. அது வேற லிங்க் நான் உங்களுக்கு தனியா அனுப்புறேன்.
ப்ளீஸ் கொஞ்சம் அனுப்பிச்சு விடுங்கயா.
கண்டிப்பா கண்டிப்பா பிரபு. இது வந்து ஃப்ரைடே only Bhagavad Gita in English. So Monday we have Srimad Bhagavatam in Tamil. நான் உங்களுக்கு லிங்க் அனுப்புறேன்.
ஓகேங்கய்யா. ஓகே கிருஷ்ணய்யா.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Shankarnath Murari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, yes, Prabhu. Today this chapter is very, very technical.
Yes, Prabhu. Technical chapter.
By reading this, very difficult to understand. And
yes.
Also, this is a lot of philosophical sides. So, get more idea. So, we need to read once again to get more clarity. This one.
Yes.
And also, lot of information today learned. There's a lot of things now. Today we have slides, a lot of things here. And the caliber versus character, that is a wonderful messages to bring this. So spiritual knowledge only will develop our divine qualities. So that is the main messages today. And also how to understand the Bhagavad Gita. That also given in detailed manner. Hare Krishna. So thanks for all.
Hare Krishna. So thank you all. So Mataji also asked about Tamil class. I don't know how many of you are follow Tamil. Actually, we have a Srimad Bhagavatam class, canto wise, every week. We are currently in 7th canto. Every Monday, we have 1 hour class, 6:30 to 7:30. I will share the link in the same group in this Gita Medisi. So whoever is interested, last week also I shared, last Monday. So whoever is interested and whoever can attend these classes on Monday, it's really, it will be helpful for your spiritual progress also. And you are most welcome to attend them. And thank you, Taini Rajan Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude for all of the devotees who are assembled here week after week, very enthusiastically, very sincerely. I am seeing, especially Prakash Prabhu and all, comes very early. Vimala Mataji also. So they are very enthusiastic learning. And also all other devotees also, I'd like to thank coming week after week and inspiring everyone to attend also. Thank you very much. And my prayers to the Supreme Lord that we all progress in bhakti together. Hare Krishna. Yes. One more comment. Last week received the link, but unfortunately, same time I'm having committed. Yeah. So yes. So okay, I can share you the video recording of that classes also in this. As I am sharing Bhagavad Gita class, I will share you the YouTube recording of those classes, so you can hear those classes. Yeah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So have a wonderful and safe week ahead, and let us meet again coming Friday, 6 p.m. with the most practical and very interesting chapter called The Puppet Show, or chapter 14, the 3 modes of material nature. Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo ananta koti vaishnavrind ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki jai. All glories to us.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you all. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.